they want that extra magic damage for their team comp. Doesn't quite work out, but he's got so many things in this champ pool. You just want to limit a couple of them and get into a situation that you feel good about. That time around, getting the Graves was huge. I'll be surprised if Gold Coin United leaves that one up in case EnVy looks for a first pick on it. We'll have to see. So far, they go with the Elise and the Ziggs. Team EnVy going with the Shen, Vladimir, and Ashe early on.
And more importantly, they swap sides now, so Gold Coin United will be on the red side. So while they don't have the ability to first pick something in the draft, they will potentially have the option to pick 2 first somethings, as we have seen a lot of these teams trading back and forth the more powerful pickups. And yeah, Malzahar ban going through. So we have Lulu, we have Graves, we have Camille, we have Varus, which they are going to be taking away for EnVy. That's kind of just been EnVy's, I wouldn't say their Achilles heel, but a very staple go-to in the draft phase is securing the Varus early on, but giving up so much else because of it.
I liked it in yesterday's series because it did not seem like there was a good answer available for the side of Team E United. Goldcoin just showed that they can run Kate, Karma, and do fine against it. So here, they can easily grab the Graves, securing what they consider probably the best jungler in this series, and still grab the Karma and Caitlyn right now and stop EnVy from getting that bot lane that seemed to be an issue last time around.
Well, the big question is now, do they wind up picking the Camille away from Seraph, or do they let Seraph have that Camille matchup and then try to take a Rumble early on in the first pick phase?
Well, we'll have to see, because if they do end up with the lopsided first round, the bans can start influencing that. Instead, it looks like they are thinking about taking away that Camille pick, feeling like they don't need to tunnel on picking their bot lane counter right now that seems so effective last game, excuse me, and instead wanting to limit Seraph's Camille, which, to be fair, was in a position to almost start taking over the game there. You felt how much pressure GCU was under in those side lane split push situations. It was the rest of the team of EnVy who kind of did not do their job in making sure that the 3- and 4-man core didn't get stuff done. They gave up a Baron, which is a huge problem. But I guess they saw enough out of Seraph to say, we kind of want to react to this Camille pick. We don't necessarily just want to play Rumble into it again.
Yeah, well, they do wind up getting the Zyra again for Team EnVy, and the Renekton, which was banned away in the game #1 series. So that, of course, means that Seraph going to be on something that is considered a decent matchup into the Camille, especially early game. Renekton, kind of the quintessential top lane bully. Very difficult to beat him in the early game lane phase. GCU's response is going to be to secure themselves the Karma, but now we'll see if EnVy wind up attacking the AD carry champion pool coming out from MASH. And of course, Goldcoin United, by taking the support in the top laner, do not have an AD carry for themselves. There's no jungler picked up for the side of Team EnVy. We could see more aggressive bans thrown at Lyra, or we could potentially see them targeting down that mid lane champion pool from Ninja again.
We'll have to see what GCU decides to do. They go with the talent pick. They saw enough out of it last game. I do like that. Even though Ninja, died early on, he still played the champion relatively well. And compared to what we've seen in other matchups between Phoenix and Ninja, Phoenix will usually find a way to get the better of him. So get him off his comfort champion. EnVy also banning away the Caitlyn. I'll admit that I'm a little surprised to see GCU favoring the Karma as the more important part of that bot lane that was able to contest EnVy's Zyra and Varus lane. Obviously, Karma's great against the two because she has the shields to poke out, or stop the poke from coming in a little bit, as well as having the speed up to get away from Zyra's roots and her plant. So it is relatively hard to play Zyra into Karma, and I do like it, but the Caitlyn did feel like such an important pickup for MASH. With the Ashe already banned away, there's a chance he gets forced onto a less than ideal pick here. Goldcoin United going with the Lee Sin as their last ban, and now EnVy have one more ban to throw away. It will go at Ezreal.
Yep, so that means Ashe, Caitlyn, Ezreal all banned away. Marksman pool a little bit dwindling here. Lucian is still available, although Lucian into a Zyra and a Varus means that he's a little bit more shorter range, going to be taking a little bit of damage in the face of that lane. But that does leave up the Ahri pick here for Phoenix. It was banned out away from Ninja in game #1. And it'll be Phoenix taking that one for himself in the mid lane this time around.
One of the champions that he did look very good on for Ninja. It is a little bit of an assassin, even though it's a control mage as well. It has that kind of play style working. It can be a little bit of both. And we saw Ninja have a good game in game 4 yesterday in E United versus an Ahri when he was the Syndra, taking that matchup again here. It is a little skilly of a matchup, is susceptible to jungle ganks. We saw one time when Ninja was getting collapsed on, was able to turn it around and trade some kills back in some jungle mid 2v2s, but it was not against the quality that we saw out of Santorin and Phoenix being the strongest pull in the map probably for GCU.
Meanwhile, Team EnVy has locked in the Syndra and the Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix not necessarily a go-to champion for Lyra, whereas the Kha'Zix has been a very popular pick out of the jungle. He himself has only played one game of it so far in the promotion tournament, and then one game of it It looks like in the North American LCS split as well. I tried a couple games of it in North American LCS, sorry about that. But not the most successful champion for him, and it is going to wind up being the Lucian as the last pick for Goldcoin United. So Goldcoin United, not the same kind of strength at the bottom lane. You mentioned how much pressure is going to be on Apollo and Hakuo to wind up getting those advantages they had in their series yesterday against United. Goldcoin United, however, this time around, a little bit of a different style of composition. They don't necessarily have the same amount of ridiculous wave clear, but they do have a little bit more split push threat coming out from Solo's Camille.
Yeah, GCU and Team EnVy heavily changing up their team comps this time around. Team EnVy basically going with a 5v5 team fighting team comp, and Lyra, even though the Kazakh still is not like a super powerful late game carry, he does continue to scale pretty well into the late game, playing that assassin role. And then the Renekton finally getting some beef here for Team EnVy. Not a pure tank, but a bruiser, and that's better to have than nothing.
Potentially the tankiest person we see on the Rift in game number 2. Both of these teams going for a little bit more beef, a little bit more strength coming out from different sorts of roles. We'll see who winds up coming out ahead in this one. Of course, you guys can let us know who you think is going to win. Hopping on Twitter, tweeting at LOL Esports, hashtag EnVyWin if you think they could tie up the series 1-1 here in game number 2. Or hashtag GCU win if you think they can pull out to a 2-0 lead. Of course, they are up after a first game victory here from Goldcoin United. It's the best of 5 series, Marks. We got plenty of League Legends left on the day. We'll see who comes out ahead in game 2.
Very different look here in game 2 between EnVy and GCU. So one of the things that you tend to see in best of 5s is oftentimes game 2 looks a lot like game 1, where the team who lost is identifying what exactly were the problems in them. The mid-series adaptations can be a little slow in the first 2 games because you're not exactly sure if there's a draft problem and you want to relook at doing the same draft again but making fewer mistakes. Maybe Ninja doesn't die to that level 2 cheesy gank, those kinds of things. But this time around, both teams actually ending up with very, very different team comps. GCU grabbing the Camille this time, having much more of that 4-1 style, and EnVy having a lot more early game advantages this time around. We talk about Lyra wanting room to work. Well, you've got probably a winning bot lane, what should be a winning mid, and a winning top lane. So you have all the tools in the early game to take this one over.
And we did, of course, hear yesterday from Apollo, a little bit of a soundbite he gave us during the game against United, where he said that if you wind up losing momentum in this series and you have to kind of come back from behind, that's a scary position to be in. And of course, EnVy, they already have some issues with their late game decision-making when it comes to being in-game. Their adaptation from game to game in a best-of series also hasn't necessarily been their strength, only winning 3 matches overall across the best-of-3s in the North American LCS. This is a point that they have struggled on, although they've had a lot of practice over the last couple of days at adapting to being down in best-of-5 series. This one, of course, going to be the most important one of their careers, because if they wind up falling down 2 games to none, they're only 1 game away from, I mentioned on the analyst desk, losing their jobs.
And then you have to go for the reverse sweep. And then you get all the memes start coming in. No one ever comes back from a 2-game advantage in the best of 5. We've seen that one heavily proven wrong in history.
Multiple times it's been proven wrong.
Been on the receiving end of one of those predictions going wrong. Not very fun.
Looks like everybody at home, however, is still on GCU side. It was 82% before, so 2%
right,
actually went back.
They lost 2% after a victory. What happened? Who's flip-flopping?
I think that'd be you. I hear you're the flip-flopper on the desk.
That's what people always tell me. This time around, MASH and Mad Life continuing to push up pretty aggressively, getting a lot of poke down onto Hakuho. And this is kind of the big story for me is can EnVy's bot lane bounce back? We talk about them being a little bit of a backbone and how we think that they should be able to get the better of this matchup. And if they can actually do that, then you have a big opportunity here for EnVy to get one of those monster leads that they seem to need because they have so many winning lanes here. You think that they'll be able to grab a big advantage.
So bottom side of the map going to be a strong point for EnVy, or at least one that they hope to be a strong point. Lyra in the jungle will also be trying to gain traction against Santorin. No early level 2 first blood kills for Santorin and no early level 1 jungle invades for either side of the map. So Lyra just in a straight up jungle matchup, maybe trying to get some advantages over Santorin, who was unable to gain last game. Of course, you mentioned the Kazakhs, not nearly as much of a power farmer as the Nidalee pick was. A little bit better when it comes to the team fighting phase of the game, but also very good at singling out targets in their own or his own jungle. So we'll see if he tries to get a little bit aggressive against Santorin. This Graves pick for Santorin, though, has worked wonders. The Challenger Series alone was a pick that he was extremely fond of, just sitting back and farming up and counter-ganking on. We saw that style prove extremely successful for him in Game 1.
Still a little bit more aggressive play out of him over the course of the promotion tournament, though. which is something that he definitely needed to do given the level of competition he was up against in the jungle position, both Rainover and Lyra in the promotion tournament. Some of the best junglers in the North American scene are, fighting for their jobs, so you can't have that kind of sit back and just farm out play style against such aggressive playmakers early on. He's really stepped up to make his own plays, getting that really early first blood off the level 1 invade last game.
And we actually heard on the soundbite as coming into the commercial break where he was being a lot more vocal as to calling out summoner spells, letting Phoenix know if he could dive or not. And we talked to him on the desk at the beginning of the Challenger Series, and he said one of the big things he wanted to work on was becoming a team leader, becoming a better shot caller, and being somebody that not only is deserving of his LCS spot, but has earned it. Between him and Madlife, Goldcoin United have had extremely good vision control, and he said between the two of them, those are where they try to focus down on who's going to be calling what shots out, who's going to be making sure the team moves across the map. And so when he's got that pressure on their shoulders, on top of the fact that he's playing against some of the best junglers in the NALCS that somehow wound up in the promotion tournament, he's been able to adapt to that pressure too. We talked about Envy falling behind in the series, and we don't know if they're going to be able to adapt to the pressure. They're afraid of it. Santorin stepped up to that challenge massively.
You can definitely look at the promotion tournament a little bit like a bit of a tryout in some senses, because obviously everyone's watching this tournament. You're playing against LCS caliber teams, people that they have been battling all year long, so you get to see a better relative skill test than you might if it was just the challenger teams playing against each other. So Santorin having a great promotion tournament so far. Hope to see more out of him regardless of what happens here today.
I mean, he himself was no slouch. Made it to Worlds with TSM. So
bit of a history with that guy.
Yeah. Trying to step back up into that form, but meanwhile on the side of Envy, well, this team here, a little bit more struggles throughout their entire NALCS split, but Lyra coming up into this top side of the map might be trying to make something happen with this aggressive Renekton pick from Seraph, although Santorin, once again, finds himself immediately there. Seraph trying to turn around now that Lyra's here. Santorin's got to get stunned up and taken down. First blood goes over to Lyra.
Good 2v2 there by Envy. Seraph working a little bit as a meat shield there. A lot of damage pumped into him early on, but Renekton, one of those very aggressive bruiser picks in the early game, can take a beating, and it allows Lyra and him to focus back down onto Santorin, picking up first blood. Big advantage there for Envy, grabbing that one away. Phoenix tries to make something happen in the mid lane, knowing where both junglers are, not actually able to convert into a kill.
Nah, winds up missing out the charm after the Spirit Rush. There's no kill threat there as he does have the exhaust in the mid lane, but still continuing to apply pressure onto Ninja. Flashes forward, misses out on the charm, but he is going to get an exhaust out of Ninja. Has to exhaust back after the ultimate comes out here. Now it's going to be Lyra running in. Phoenix extremely low. Force of Will picks up the kill.
Uh-oh, this is the scary early game out of Envy. Already coming into effect just 6 minutes in here. Get a kill in the top lane. Lyra instantly makes a visit to the mid lane where Phoenix has been playing super aggressive. He's able to help secure a kill there for Ninja as well. When we talk about how much stronger their laners are in the 1v1s this time around, able to convert those into kills with the help of Lyra.
So early game Envy, looking like shades of their former selves with 2 kills on the board compared to the none of Goldcoin United. Madlife going to step up, stops the recalls coming out here from Apollo. That has let Mash go back and pick up a Bilge Ward or Cutlass early on, though they are at a CS deficit because he's been away from lane. But Madlife, flirting with disaster, drops down a little bit low there. We can see just a replay of what happens in this mid lane fight. Phoenix had already used the Spirit Rush, thinks he'd get a Flash Charm. He's going to wind up connecting.
Nope, goes for a Flash Charm, misses that one, gets exhausted, turns around here to land the exhaust onto Ninja, but all the ult damage already came through. Makes him an easy stun target and leaves him a little out of position for Lyra and Ninja to come in and get a couple more kills. And it's not just the kills this time coming in from Envy. They have CS leads almost everywhere aside for the jungle position. You have about a 20 CS lead in the top lane, 5 CS lead in the mid lane, and a 10 CS lead in the bot lane. So not only do you have 2 kills, you also have a 2,000 gold advantage.
Yep. So 2,000 gold up for Envy. Looking like the Envy that we know and love. The Envy that we expected to show up in this promotion tournament. Phoenix Mia on the mid lane. No flash, no exhaust, just that Spirit Rush available. Lyra knows that there's some summoner spells down over there. Hovering around the mid side of the map. Is going to get spotted out by a ward and a couple of pings coming down, though. Goldcoin United, though, grouped up as 3 now in the mid lane as Madlife's found his way up in here. Santorin also kind of poking through. But Lyra set his sights on that red buff invade. Put down a ward a little bit earlier before. Sees the timer on the red buff, going to steal that one away. And Goldcoin United now reacting a little bit slower than they were in game number 1. Just sees the exit there.
A little greedy on the side of GCU there, wanting to secure vision down onto the red buff of Lyra, hoping to find him down there. Lyra instead already on the top side, stealing that away. GCU try and get back up there in time, not able to do so, so they don't even get the trade of the red buff steals off. Lyra just getting a straight advantage there.
Some early game advantages for EnVy are lining up pretty nicely. A lot of them coming through Lyra, whether it be the first blood on the top side or Ninja getting a little bit of assistance in the mid lane. Phoenix going to land the charm, but Over Deception already gone out, so there's no extra return damage there, just more surviving for himself. Hakuo, though, knows that this blue buff is available. Gold United have to come over here to defend it, and they will be able to pass it off to Phoenix.
And Lyra's having a great game, but also the solo laners are having a much better game as well. The fact that they're already getting CS leads a little bit on their own. Obviously, Lyra's helping those out, but they are such an early game team. I do like the idea of just drafting better lane bullies and being able to kind of convert their small advantages that Lyra always is able to find for them. So this time around, actually turning those into bigger advantages. And then the bot lane, not quite winning still, but at least they're not getting shoved in over and over quite like they were when they were up against that Caitlyn pick.
Right, the bottom side of the map definitely holding their own a bit better in this matchup. A little bit of help from the ban phase, as they did wind up putting MASH down all the way down onto that Lucian pickup. You mentioned before, may struggle against some of the range coming out from the Zyra and the poke coming out from Varus in that straight 2v2 matchup. Top side of the map, about a 23 CS advantage in favor of Saris Renekton. A lot of that coming because of the pressure that Lyra is able to put down with that first blood kill, but also just straight up the Renekton lane bully pick. Doing a little bit better early on in the lane phase in the Camille versus Rumble. Although Seraph going to be slicing and dicing in here. The Hextech ultimatum goes down because Santorin's around the backside.
Lyra's here.
Sarah's going to wind up drop down extremely low, but Lyra jumps in, takes Solo down extremely low, and they're not going to be able to trade a kill onto Seraph. Now Santorin finds himself in trouble. Red buff on a flash forward from Lyra. Double kill picked up. Taste his feet.
Ah, it's a disaster. That play takes a little bit too long to develop. It gives Lyra enough time to collapse up into the top side. They try and open up on Seraph. Now the bot lane's going crazy too, knowing where all the junglers are. EnVy's bot lane having the ability to pick a fight basically whenever they want to with the lockdown CC available with the Varus ultimate. Hop on the MASH. They're not actually able to force out any summoners. It's actually EnVy's bot lane who lose their heal. But during all that time, EnVy with that 1-2v2 on the top side, take down the top turret, ballooning up to about a 4,000 gold lead already.
Yeah, and a lot of that is going to specifically be on Seraph. He's got that solo gold from the tower, about 1,800 gold Renekton holds over the Camille. Already a finished Black Cleaver, 11 minutes into the game. We said one of the victories for Team EnVy against Gold Coin United came through Seraph and his Renekton play. That 52.5-minute game number 2. EnVy are looking to set this one up a little bit quicker.
Yeah, but the big difference was that time around they were on the Nautilus pick, who has a much better job stabilizing as it's no longer a carry versus carry matchup. Here, where they're trying to make plays to get solo going on the carry, but Lyra's there to cover. Seraph gets very low. They almost are able to clean this kill up. Nice last-second flash out there. Solo can't get in range. Now Santorin's left in a one-on-one versus the stronger Kha'Zix pick. Lyra flashes in to secure the second kill, and you gotta look at this strategy where last time around we saw, for the most part, Solo playing more stable picks. This time playing Rumble in game 1, looked decent, still fell to the pressure a little bit of Seraph, but this time on the Camille has the Renekton counter pick playing against him, and you have to wonder if it was right to kind of opt into this champion.
Well, a little bit of trade damage there for Solo as Seraph is just content to tank that one up. Has the Phage built up. No Sheen yet, so he's not going to get the extra burst of that Spellblade damage. Gold Coin United's bottom side of the map, though, looks like there might be a dive coming in from EnVy, but Seraph just pops the Dominus, trades back down on the Solo. The power of that early Black Cleaver forces the flash away from Camille. Now on the bottom side of the map, Madlife and Santorin trying to come to the aid of MASH. Madlife has to flash over the wall there because Lyra is ready and waiting.
Yeah, not enough vision control down on the side of Gold Coin United. You see they finally got a ward into that bot river. The rest of it is all EnVy control, and they were able to path into the jungle, essentially, of GCU, so as they move down to the river to try and help MASH, they actually get cut off there, force out Madlight's flash, and that opens up the dragon now for Lyra to take this one away. Not much of a contestant as Santorin's on the top side. I don't know if he's looking for Seraph or looking for some farm, but either way, he finds the Crocodile.
He finds a Renekton over at his Krugs, and he has to back away from that. Meanwhile, Ocean Drake going to go down in favor of Team EnVy, so they get the first Drake of the game. Next one will wind up being a Mountain Drake, so don't worry, Mark. We're not getting another Cloud. We're not getting another Ocean yet.
Where are my Infernals, though, Tom?
No Infernals to be found in this best of 5 quite yet, but if EnVy keep playing this way, we're going to have at least 4 games to try to find some Infernals. 4 kills to 0, with 22,500 gold lead compared to 18 and about a half for the side of Gold Coin United. The first tower has gone down in favor of EnVy as well, so playing to the strengths of their early game aggression. The big question is going to be, can they hold on to this lead? More importantly, not can they hold on to this lead, but can they transition this lead into a victory? They still got a lot of time, a lot of league lessons to play for that. They got to keep up this aggression and keep GCU on their toes.
Well, it looks like they're trying. You see the Varus ultimate come out of Apollo there, just misses. And even with that, they're still continuing to push up. They don't need their ultimates. They got a lot of poke available. Hit Mash down to half health, force the pot out of him. Has a little bit of sustain with his Cutlass completed, but still not a fun lane matchup to be in.
I'm also liking what Envy is doing this game against Gold Coin United. You can see on the bottom side of the map, there's a lot of vision control around the mid lane river area. So if Phoenix on this mobile Ahri pick is going to try roaming down to their bottom lane where they're shoved up super aggressively, they're going to be able to spot it out. We saw the Syndra blue buff being traded over. We normally see if there's a dragon on the map or if there's a bot lane being pushed up, when that mid laner leaves to get the blue buff, we see a roam coming out from the opposing team here. Phoenix and Santorin going to get aggressive here, are able to get a pickup kill on the Ninja. The 2 teleports being channeled in from both top laners. It was canceled there by Solo, but completed by Seraph. They want to try to get a kill on the Santorin. The flash and the slice still has the dice. Yes, he's going to be able to chase after Phoenix, who has to flash away from that one. Solo's kind of left Phoenix all to his lone, so the dominance has been popped. The slice will be available in 2, 1. Slices forward. Dice is after. Phoenix goes down.
Charms him out of the first part, but enough follow-up there for Seraph to get a double kill for himself. Now Solo caught under the turret. Might not be able to get out of here. Seraph has cut off the escape. The hook shot connects, but he blocks off the second half of it. It's going to drop some damage onto him, but Solo's gotten far enough away at this point.
Well, meanwhile, on the bottom side, the culling connects onto Hakuo. Stranglethorns has to go out. Apollo holding onto his Chain of Corruption for a turnaround here, forcing Mash back.
A lot of aggression all over the map there, but you see Gold Coin United don't have really any CC available to them in that bot lane, just a couple slows, even with the Cutlass coming in. So it's very hard to actually force down onto Envy's bot lane, who has way more hard CC available. So if they ever find an opening to start things off, Apollo and Hakuo can really be the ones to decide if they want to force it. Here, Mash walks forward.
There's that Chain of Corruption coming in, waiting for the perfect opportunity, and Mash gets smashed.
And there you see the importance of tracking your cooldowns. Apollo's ultimate had just come back available. We saw just a minute or two ago. He missed that one. This time around, Mash, probably not sure if that's actually available, walks up to try and trade with Apollo, gets hit point blank with that Varus ultimate locked down and killed by the bot lane. And with that, they also grabbed their 3rd turret of the game.
Yeah, and all off the back of some aggression in the mid lane. Started up by Gold Coin United, but answered in time by Envy.
Right, it's a nice opening. Obviously, Phoenix has been missing his charms, making this a little bit more difficult. And that dropped Santorin low enough that while the teleport of Seraph completed, he was able to chase him for some more kills.
Yeah, meanwhile, we saw aggression from Ninja going down onto Phoenix's Ahri. Looks like Phoenix had gone over and gotten the blue buff passed off to him. There's a couple scatter the weak stuns, forcing us to snap back to reality here as Phoenix about half HP. Forced the wave clear underneath his own tower, but about a 7,000 gold advantage now for Team Envy. This is a massive advantage, more than we're used to having them see. Some of these leads they got against United, they kept them throughout most of the game, but the difficulty was they needed a Baron in order to close it out. At this point in time, they have 3 towers already.
Yeah, I mean, these are the kind of leads that you want to see out of Team Envy, where you're confident that they're going to win the game. If they have a 3,000 gold lead at this point, there's still a possibility, a high possibility that Gold Coin United comes back into this game. With a lead this substantial, Gold Coin United is definitely in a bad spot.
Well, they should be all but taken down, but Envy, this is the point we've been trying to make. They are an extremely early game focused team. They get these leads. They'll take down outer towers. They'll split push down with the Seraph Renekton. But then lane assignments and team fights and skirmishes do not go their way in the mid to late game. And Seraph here gonna maybe bite off a little bit more than even he can chew at this point in time. We'll wind up going down to 3 strong on the top side, but a good reaction from Team Envy. They know there's so many people in the top lane. They're gonna push down for the last outer tower. Apollo, though, getting trades down on by Mash. Flashes away from the Chain of Corruption, but Mash with one piercing arrow takes him down.
Actually, a great job backing into the brush there. Mash was a little slow, using his blue trinket to secure vision to get the follow-up auto attack onto Apollo. And as I talk about this,
Mad Life goes down. More like Mad Dead as Lyra picks up a kill.
Yeah, Mad Dead absolutely trying to move down to that bot lane, gets picked off in his own jungle. And Apollo winning that duel. I'm not sure Mash would have won it anyways, but he was a little slow on that blue trinket, and it gave Apollo enough time to get his piercing arrow off cooldown again and lands that final shot to finish him off. And this is coming apart at the seams now for GCU.
Yeah, Envy taking aggressive trades and winning them all across the map. So Envy, these early game advantages, they know that they have them on their individual players, and they're matching them up against their weaker counterparts here. Even in the AD carry position down this bot side, Mash, I thought he could win this duel, but like you said, the vision control on that brush was crucial.
Right, so he starts off with the culling here. Apollo doing a good job dodging out on a lot of that damage. Apollo decides he still wants to, or Mash wants to still take this fight. does get a good trade there, but then here drops vision on the double tap. I'm pretty sure if he had him, he would have finished off Apollo. His health wasn't actually that high, a lot of that coming in from the Mastery, so very close duel there. Apollo coming out on top, both of them missing their ultimates. It was very scrappy, good flash by both of them, and Apollo with that extra bit of gold lead, able to win that fight.
That's what happens when you have blight stacks and you have a level 5 piercing arrow from that Barret. Just massive amounts of damage chunking down through Mash. All across the map, like you mentioned, Envy turning these gold advantages even higher and higher. About an 8,500 to 9,000 gold lead is where things sit right now for the side of Team Envy. 4 towers compared to 0, and they got the only dragon on the map in their name as well. Next one's going to be a Mountain Drake, so if you have questions about how they break the base, that could be something they fall back to. But Goldcoin United, they're going to be looking to get a little bit pushy, a little bit aggressive. Once again, going down on the Ninja, using that exhaust aggressively, coming out from Phoenix, but Lyra's on the backside. GCU have to back away from this.
Able to force out both summoners of Ninja. This is a potential window over the next couple of minutes to try and make a play, but you're so far behind at this point. You want to keep looking for fights. You want to look for these small advantages, but at some point you need to find a way to break a big fight back in your favor, as well as grabbing some objectives off the back of it. And the problem is, Envy's doing a good job pushing in all the other lanes. You see Renekton shoving the bot wave all the way in there, too. Solo, who has to go down and catch that one. Up on the top side, Apollo pushing in that wave. Now it's going to be a little fight in the bot lane. Solo a little caught out. Yep,
Solo getting some good trade damage. Though has the Trinity Force finish in addition to the Ninja Tab Eye, so Seraph gonna have to pop his own Dominus to keep himself healthy. He did see Santorin coming around the sides, so maybe getting a little bit scared. Flash over the wall from Hakuo. Misses out on the roots. The Stranglethorns gets used. Scatter the weak. Decent amount of damage traded back on the Phoenix.
Good footwork, though. Dodging out on the grasping roots there, as well as avoiding the slow from Ninja. But still 4 slow, gonna have to go back to base, heal up. And this basically secures the Mountain Dragon for Envy. Goldcoin United coming out a little worse for wearing a couple too many trades there, and Envy extremely far ahead, so a little easy for them to grab this one.
Yeah, like we said before, they need to fall back, take this Mountain Dragon. They have the lead. They can utilize that one to start breaking down some of these inner towers coming in for the side of Goldcoin United. The second Mountain Drake will be the next one. So that could potentially even push that snowballing threat further on. And then Baron, now that we're 21 minutes into the game, becomes a real threat. They already have both of those top lane towers down for the side of Team Envy. They can try to force somebody to split push on the bottom side against this Renekton. That could open up that Baron play.
Wrapping around Solo.
Could just open up this tower. They are going to flash forward onto Solo. The Stranglethorns, the roots will not wind up landing. Solo going to use the Hextech Ultimatum, but he's already gone down. Hakuo picks up that kill.
There's really nothing for GCU to force back on. They're trying to go for this Baron. They're extremely far behind and not going to have that much damage onto it with Apollo and Ninja in the area.
They're extremely squishy too, and they're not going to really be able to tank that one up. So I like the Gusto that they had, but Goldcoin United, they just can't do that one. It looks like they're trying to go for some desperation plays at this point. 10,000 gold deficit at 20 minutes is massive.
Yeah, it's very hard to come back in this game.
We keep saying that. But this is Team Envy, and we saw them stall out against United in one of the games of their best-of-5 series yesterday. It took them until they got 2 Barons 10 minutes later to close out the game from this exact standpoint of a 10,000 gold advantage at 20 minutes.
So what we're saying is don't count your chickens before they hatch with Team Envy here, but the Dragons are on their side this time around. Being able to pick up a double Mountain Dragon is huge with the kind of split push comp, but Apollo walks a little bit far forward here. He's going to get caught out of position.
Mash is just ready and waiting for that one, even though the Stranglethorns pop him up. It's Apollo that goes down.
Good pick off there by GCU. Mash had pushed in the top wave, acted like he was going to recall out, and instead stayed in the brush. GCU need to be a little bit careful because Envy are still the stronger team. They're rotating up, but Mash is going to be able to recall out. And they're going to have to take a moment to reset. This brief reprieve coming in for GCU, and this is what we talk about, how Envy might stall out despite having this massive advantage, is the fact that they can get picked off. We saw that happen a couple times yesterday, and that forces them to need to take an extra minute or two to calm down, and then a skirmish doesn't go that well, and they're forced to retreat again, and next thing you know, you're 30 minutes into the game, and the enemy team's starting to scale back up.
Yeah, well, Apollo, a little bit too far ahead of the rest of his team there. You mentioned that Envy, sometimes the coordination and their lane assignments in the later stages of the game, mid to late game as we are in the mid game now, sometimes get themselves into a little bit of trouble. We'll just see if they're able to adjust to the fact we do have Apollo going up into the top side all by himself again. Meanwhile, Hakuo is trying to secure vision around the Baron Pit area. Yeah, could potentially just be a repeat of what we see. Apollo, though, got a minion wave to stop off and farm, so Hakuo will give him a little bit of time to come back and Apollo very wisely backing away. They see some pings coming down the river from those wards Haku will wind up placing. They see Santorin and Madlife coming around from the side. Mash decides to pop out and foil.
Oh, Usyk. Apollo is not insane, does not attempt the same thing over and over. Phoenix getting
though,
cursed out here a little bit.
Unleashed power winds up going down. The exhaust comes out as well as the Karma Inspire shield. So Ninja starting to get the better of these trades, these 1v1s in the mid lane against Phoenix.
Phoenix able to live though, doesn't actually lose too much more than his exhaust. Still hovering around, kind of low health though, signaling to EnVy that can't really take a fight right now.
Is going to wind up trying to recall, though it's not necessarily in the safest place. Plants are going to wind up targeting down the Madlife, so Phoenix completes that recall. EnVy, though, knowing that they've chunked out the mid lane, they've chunked out a large portion of the wave clear coming out from Goldcoin United, trying to push down this mid lane. Forces Santorin to wind up using his end of the line to wind up wave clearing. But now EnVy, wrap around the backside. They know Mash is kind of up here all by his lonesome. Are they going to be able to get the catch on Mash this time?
He's not hitting the best spot. On the wrong side of the map now, running away from 3 people. Does the fadeaway culling, trying to scare them away from him, but looks like he might be able to meet back up with his team now on the other end.
Buys some time to meet up with Goldcoin United, but there's a teleport coming in from Seraph. No response quite yet from Solo. They're trying to catch on the Phoenix, who has to flash away. He's already used his Spirit Rush. The flash after from Lyra. He goes unstoppable.
Nice pick off onto Phoenix there, who had kind of thrown himself at EnVy to distract them from chasing down onto Mash. He did cut off the escape for him, but it left himself in a bad spot. The teleport comes out from Seraph as well. It's not the end of the world for GCU, but now they're pushing that bat wave on the top side, and no one is back there to defend. Lyra will not actually go for the inhibitor turret. Looks like they're peeling back and pinging onto Baron.
Yeah, Solo in the meantime walked up from the bottom lane, didn't really get anything done, couldn't use his teleport. There's no wards in the area for him to go to. Tries to go to the top side. Goldcoin United face check into that brush, and EnVy is waiting and ready for them. Double kill.
Exactly the kind of play they need there. They find the pick onto the jungler. Obviously, GCU is in a terrible position so far in this game. You have to be scared of this Baron buff. They're so far ahead. Look how fast they do this. Almost everyone on the side of EnVy building damage, so you have to respect how fast they can do that Baron buff. On top of the fact they already have a Mountain Dragon down. They walk forward and get blown up, but you can't really fault GCU at this point because there is such a threat on that Baron buff.
And as we see here, Goldcoin United, no vision whatsoever besides around the backside of the Baron pit. Walks right into that brush, and Madlife and Santorin just get deleted.
Quick 2 kills turns into a Baron there. And with that, EnVy can now start setting up their 1-3-1 yet again. Or go for the 4-1. They don't have a teleport anymore because Seraph did use it to get that cleanup kill onto Phoenix. So who knows exactly what they're going to go for. It looks like they're looking for that Mountain Dragon before they start getting the push going.
They have an okay amount of vision up on the top side of Goldcoin United's map. So they could potentially go for a Renekton in the top lane, the rest of them in the mid lane kind of push situation so that Seraph can group up with them rather quickly. It looks like they're dual lane here on the bottom side, Renekton on the top side. They might just be going for the full split. As you mentioned, Mountain Drake spawning in a couple of seconds. Might be looking to pick that one up before they make any sort of aggressive moves on the map.
You see Apollo using his blue trinket there, scouting out the brushes in the side waves now. Does not want to get jumped on by the enemy team again. And to be fair, it's actually a fairly important thing. We saw, there's a great example of Arrow knowing to do this instinctively and telling his support to go check those brushes and making sure he's hanging back until he's sure that they're clear. And then you see some other players, I believe it was Keith or someone who did not actually do that kind of check. And it's one of those things that comes with experience and you want to see more out of, but it's always a little scary as an AD carry. You're balancing, trying to remember so many things. Sometimes you forget to check one of those brushes.
So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Coming out from Apollo. Learning and adapting in the middle of the series to make sure he does not get jumped on there. Meanwhile, second Mountain Dragon in the game does wind up going over to Team EnVy. Gives way to an Infernal Drake, Mark. Although we may not wind up reaching the point where EnVy needs to take that one.
Oh, this game better not tease me that much. The one time they show me the Infernal Dragon, the game's done before it actually spawns.
13 kills to 3 and a 15,500 gold lead makes me think that EnVy, even with their struggles in the mid to late game of being able to close things out, are going to be hard-pressed to falter here. Although EnVy has their bottom lane getting flanked here by a teleport coming up from Solo, but they immediately stop him up. Chain of Corruption, Strangle Roots knocks him up in the middle of a hook shot, and Solo just feeds another kill on over to the side of EnVy. Now they're trying to chase down on the Goldcoin United, who have to retreat to their own base now. And it's EnVy pushing up the bottom, pushing up the middle. Already towered down on the top side, so there's exposed inhibitors. They want to rotate to that one.
I like the idea there by EnVy. Lyra getting chunked out really low. the idea out of Gold Coin United, you know they don't have the teleport to match. You want to get the teleport flank off and force something before the minion waves really start crashing down your turrets. Unfortunately, he just gets chain CC'd up, and he gets an easy kill. Now they're continuing to try and force.
Maybe a little bit too forceful here as Mash just gets taken low, but he also responds back in kind onto Seraph. We saw Phoenix with a blinking health bar for himself. Envy, though, got to take down that last inhibitor tower of the game. Every tower except for the Nexus towers has gone down on GCU side, and they haven't even gotten one back as a response. Mid lane inhibitor winds up falling. Bottom lane inhibitor winds up going down. Gold Coin United, they're on strict tower defense duty now.
Gold Coin United seemingly up against an insurmountable lead now for the side of Team Envy. They go back, they heal up, they reset. Only one more inhibitor to force down. 2 turrets left available on the side of Gold Coin United. Only those Nexus ones available. It's going to be pretty hard to mount in defense now, especially with their teleport down. They're going to try to find some kind of fight most likely, but it's a little too late now. And like I was saying, I like the idea of teleporting in there, but you see how much lockdown is available for the bot lane of Envy. Just as soon as he showed up in the fight, was actually unable to move the entire time before he died.
Yeah, the unfortunate downside for Solo is that he is still 500 gold ahead of Hakuo. So not necessarily in the strongest position right now. Gold Coin United all across the board have had disadvantages pretty much since the early game. Lyra helping the top side of the map get first blood meant that Solo was at a disadvantage against Seraph. Bottom side of the map, we talked about how important it was for Apollo and Hakuo to get advantages, and Hakuo utilizing these plans to check that brush. Still takes a decent amount of damage for himself, but they're able to get a quick kill onto Mash. Lyra over the side of the wall chunks people down extremely low, and now the teleport coming in for the side of Team Envy because that one is back available. This is going to be the collapse. This is going to be Sarah picking up a kill on the Mad Life, a slice and a dice after Santorin. The stun comes up, and Santorin goes down. Gold Coin United futilely trying to start a fight against Team Envy, and Envy, this might just be all they need to break the base and break the Nexus.
You talk about how much damage Hakuho had, having his gold comparable to Solo there. Chunked out the entire team of Gold Coin United when they try and force that play. Easy chase down for Envy now. They get 4 kills. They're going to close out game 2 here off the back of a monster early game.
And a 6,300 gold Baron power play to close it out. Envy. Look, where were they in game number 1 like that? They looked like they had cruise control on the entire time.
Well, the big deal was the fact that they got a bunch more winning lane matchups this time around. We saw Lyra was able to influence the lanes game 1 as well, but having champions that can fight on their own a little bit better, they can bully these lane matchups. They're able to take those kind of advantages that Lyra tends to get every single time, but this time convert them into much bigger leads. And you got to look at what Gold Coin United chooses to do in the draft here. We saw Solo playing a lot of tanks in the first time that these guys played, now playing 2 games in a row of carry champions. Not saying Solo can't play that style, but when you're scared most about getting snowballed on in the early game and you take these more volatile matchups, it might not be playing the game plan for the best for Gold Coin United here.
Yeah, and the thing is, about the Camille being left open through the ban phase, they felt like they had to take it, but they were not able to ban the Renekton again like they did in ban phase number 2. Envy wound up capitalizing on that matchup on the top side in the first pick phase, and they come out ahead in that matchup by giving that first blood over in the top side of the map and getting that advantage ahead. But also, you really have to kind of give props to Ninja in this matchup. The Ahri from Phoenix looked really solid yesterday against Team Liquid. Ninja himself on Syndra stepped up in the series against E United yesterday, and today he wasn't massively ahead of Phoenix, but he was going toe-to-toe with it, and Phoenix was unable to move around the map.
Yeah, Phoenix had a couple looks in the early game that he might have been able to convert into kills if he was able to land those charms. Unfortunately, he missed all of those, and then once Ninja was able to live through those first couple attempts, Lyra started showing up and started really turning the matchup completely on its head in favor of Ninja, and we know what a Syndra can do from ahead, and we saw Ninja play a really good game 4 on it last time in their series against E United, and here it looks good again. So Gold Coin United are going to have to find something to do about it.
Yeah, well, Envy take game 2, so now let's check in with the analysts to see what they think of Envy tying up the series.
You know what I think, Tom? You want to know what I think? I think the scoreline's 1-1. That's what I think of them tying up the series. I'm very, very focused on
like 20 minutes.
saying
I thought he was going to get it wrong. I was sweating.
Yeah, it was close. I mean, hey, some of us think talent's level 3, some of us think the score is 1-1. It's close, it's close. I'll call you out on that one. So let's talk about this. Envy, I mean, this looks like every Envy win. They hard smash the game. Lyra takes over, and they have 20,000 gold at 20 minutes. That's exactly what you said.
Every
EnVy win. Every EnVy win.
Different
I said every EnVy win, not every EnVy game. All right,
I just
keep
blocked
up.
out
Keep up. What you got to say, Al?
One thing I will say where it does look a little bit different is Ninja has actually been holding up pretty well in the mid lane. Yes, this game was about Lyra, and we're going to get to watch him smashing. I think he was in the right place at the right time a lot of the time, but you know, Ninja deserves some credit for going even and doing well in a lot of these matchups against Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of the times we've seen him do well have been on Syndra as well, so that people might need to add that into consideration when they're trying to force him onto all those ADs. As far as this montage, though, Lyra absolutely smashed this game, and particularly Santorin. And this is why last game we emphasized so much how important it was where Santorin starts the game out counter jungling Lyra, and then they kill mid lane and like force him to show in lane early on in the game. Because if you don't, Lyra is absolutely going to blast this team, and Santorin actually gets counter ganked multiple times. He starts panicking as soon as he sees Lyra, it feels like, and he won't be able to play out the skirmishes appropriately, and he died a couple of times there. So definitely still have to watch out for the star player there.
Yeah, you definitely do. And this is one of those games where not only was Lyra individually successful, but his success kind of spilled over into the other lanes, right? Into top lane and stuff. Like a lot because of the counter ganks. And the Renekton was already up quite a bit in farm. He was already doing very well in that lane. And then when you can turn around a couple fights, donate full solo gold of the first turret over to the Renekton, you start getting him enormously ahead to the point where the Camille never really gets to outscale, never really gets to a point where she can duel.
I mean, honestly, when EnVy wins like this, all lanes are actually doing well. Even we had the one picture there of Apollo 1v1ing Mashme, who tried everything he could. You know, he's going in on it, he's Lucian, he flashes the ultimate, still goes down to the heal coming up. So basically, Seraph doing fine, or doing well, and then Ninja doing well as well.
Yeah, I gotta say, even though the bot lane has been pretty, even though the bot lane has been pretty low impact, we have just seen sort of the group with the push lead tends to do well. EnVy's like first picking Varus every single game, and okay, well, you got the Karma in there, you get rid of the Caitlyn, so now the push is not so good for MASH, and suddenly it's not GCU who's able to get the push lead out of the bot lane, because before Caitlyn, Karma obviously got a lot done, things like that. So yeah, it just feels like bot lane is just whoever's getting the push is going to get first turret at some point, and all the actions top side. I didn't really like the fact that solo blinds the Camille. We're seeing very clearly that Camille can lose lane. There are counter picks, and that's been playing out kind of every time.
And one other thing from Champion Select that I just remembered as well is I'd rather see them put Phoenix on a team fighter who can really carry the game when they get towards that mid game. You know, first objective is to get past the early game without a huge deficit, but then setting him up for success with something like a Vladimir or something like that, rather than Ari or no, not quite the same effect. It's still a very good champion, and you still can take over the game, just not in a
I definitely agree, because the games, even when he has been able to do really well in lane in the promotion tournament on the Ahri, like we smashed Piglet twice in a row on Ahri, couldn't really have the big impact on the game, and I kind of feel similarly about the Jace also, you know, but obviously he is feeling more comfortable on these picks, otherwise he wouldn't keep picking the Ahri and keep picking the Jace, but I do feel like he needs to be playing those team fight champions, because you can't always rely on shutting down EnVy's early game, and then you need to kind of have some sort of insurance for late.
Choosing in team fight comps, maybe a tank top, like bring out the Nautilus or the Maokai. Like, you know what, Sarah, if you can get ahead, that's fine, because a Maokai can withstand. Is that like the cake that we're baking here for GCU?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we heard Santorin talk about all you have to do against EnVy is take them to the late game, right? So if you set yourself up a stable composition with good scaling, with solid wave clear, you slow down the game and you try to play around where Lyra is, track him, and play safely, I think that you can get to a stage where, you know, Phoenix should be able to consistently outperform someone like Ninja in those team fights.
Yeah, all right, we'll see if that ends up happening here. We're going to take away for a quick break, but stay tuned, because Game 3 is coming up between Gold Coin United and Team EnVy. You're watching the North American LCS Summer Promotion Tournament. See ya.
Seraph trying to turn around now that Lyra's here. Santorin's got to get stunned up and taken down. First blood goes over to Lyra. Lyra jumps in, takes solo down extremely low, and they're not going to be able to trade a kill onto Seraph. Now Santorin finds himself in trouble. Red buff on a flash forward from Lyra. Double kill picked up.
No flash. I'm on grapes. Okay, grapes. They
immediately stop him up, change of corruption. Strangleroot knocks him up in the middle of a hook shot, and Solo just feeds another kill on over to the side of EnVy.
I got Lucian.
Alright, no,
I can't see you. Too low.
Here, go.
Okay, coming. I have Jonias.
Careful Camille. What Nexus? And the game.
Yeah, go in.